Hello, everybody, and welcome to our podcast. This is Welcome to Livingston, where we have local businesses and causes on to talk about what they're doing in the community. My name is Don Putkela.
And I'm Angela Putkela, and we're with the Putkela Group Real Estate Professionals.
Yeah, and we are really excited about our podcast today. Today we have with us Emily Stone from Empowered Bumps and Boobs.
Yes, and Emily also has her own Emily Stone Consulting, learning strategy and design. But definitely, it sounds like you are a great woman's partner, a lot of, sort of that female energy and doing great things out in the community. And we thought it would be fantastic to have you. So welcome, Emily.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Great. So tell us a little bit more. I don't know if you want us to start with the Empowered Bumps and Boobs or, to tell us what that is and how you started it.
Yes, let's start there. So Empowered Bumps and Boobs, it's an online course and community for expecting and new moms to help them make breastfeeding work for them, as well as connect with other moms who are in the same season of life and get support from me, a certified breastfeeding counselor. But specifically in Livingston County, I host monthly mom meetups. So whether you are expecting or you recently had a baby or you're trying to, wrangle toddlers right now, we meet at the Brighton Lighthouse once a month and just provide community and support. There, you can share whatever needs to be shared. It's a safe space. Nothing leaves that room. And I find that one of the hardest things about becoming a new mom, what I hear from a lot of new moms is, how do I make mom friends? It's not that easy. It's not like at college where you just walk down the dorm hallway and ran into 20 other people your same age. When you're older and you're just in your house by yourself and you have a baby, you're like, where are all the other ones? And so anything I can do to create the platform to bring moms together, that's the main focus.
That is fantastic and definitely well needed, because just that social outlet when becoming a mom is such a big event here, and especially in terms of Mother's Day coming up here, because this I believe we publish in terms of, so Mother's Day just happened and everyone's thinking about moms, but for those new moms, this is a big event on so many levels.
And not only Mother's Day, May is Maternal Mental Health Month. So I think we all intuitively know, but also research shows that one of the best things for mental health is social connection. And so when we talk about moms and mental health, the extent to which they can feel connected to others is really, really important.
Just that support that it offers.
Mm-hmm.
Great. That's really nice. Now, so how did you decide to come up with this and start this?
Yeah, it's really been a process. It was during COVID. I was seeing new families welcome babies during COVID, and it was extra isolating. Wow. It's already an isolating experience when you're trapped at home with a newborn. And now, the medical agencies were saying, grandma can't come over to help you. Your friend can't come over to help you. So it was even worse than normal. And that sort of lit a fire under me. And I focus specifically on breastfeeding because that's one of the specific things that if you don't have outside support, it's extra hard to feel successful. And I sent out a survey to a bunch of moms just to collect feedback, like what was difficult for you, what helped you. And what became very clear is moms wanted to talk about it. And they were like, I did not have support. I did not have connection. There's so much more we could be doing. And that led to me creating my podcast, Spilling the Milk, where I interview moms about their breastfeeding experience. And I interview professionals who support moms. And out of the podcast, because I've been creating courses for other people for almost 20 years. That's my day job.
Okay.
I'm an instructional designer, educational technologist. So I've helped everyone from Uber to Michigan State University to small nonprofits create online courses to serve their audience.
How perfect.
Yeah, so I combined that passion and experience with my passion for supporting moms, and I created the online Breastfeeding Bootcamp, which is basically a really well-designed course to teach new moms everything they need to know to get started on breastfeeding, which includes nutrition, sleep, seeking support systems, not just the nuts and bolts of feeding a baby.
Right, exactly. Oh, how fantastic. Now, because you mentioned breastfeeding, and I want to make sure that we take a moment to talk about the benefits of breastfeeding. You have your beautiful children, and we have ours as well too. And I know it's been a heartbeat, but I remember back in those days myself, and just how critical and important breastfeeding was, and just I was blown away by the just the benefits behind it. My mom was from an era that she didn't breastfeed. She was shocked that we were going to. And, it was something that I wanted to do. And then come to find out all of the great benefits behind it was just fantastic. So since that's your expertise, can you shine a light on some of those benefits?
For sure. So when I was a baby, my mom was weird because she did choose to breastfeed. And it was only because she had some hippie friends that were also breastfeeding that convinced her to. But at that time, it was like formula was the cool thing to do.
Yeah.
And we've sort of seen, and obviously for most of human history, formula was not the cool thing to do. It was not invented yet. Everyone breastfed. And at one point, the pendulum kind of swung to, formula feeding. And now the pendulum's kind of swinging back. And yeah, there are tangible benefits. It's almost magical. The things that make up breast milk, like science doesn't even fully understand everything that's in there. We know for sure there's a ton of benefits to gut health for the baby, as well as the immune system. So one thing that I'm still fascinated every single time, when the baby has a specific virus, the mom's body senses that and creates the antibodies to fight what the baby has. It's like this beautiful, mother-baby dyad, they refer to it as. And so I want to empower moms to be able to breastfeed as long as they want to, as long as it fits within their lifestyle. Because for me, it was a tool. Like baby is hurt, baby is sleepy, baby is sad, baby is anything, and like nursing can fix it. And so when you don't have that, it's like you have one less tool in your toolbox. Yeah. And the really hard thing is if you don't sort of get it established within those first few weeks,
right,
you're not going to have that tool at 3 months, 6 months, however long you
potentially
could
at that point in time.
And even if you end up mostly pumping, at least baby is still getting all of that nutrition in the milk. So that is one thing I get across from the very beginning is this can look however it needs to look for your family. It might end up being a combination of pumping or some formula, but I don't want women to get discouraged in those first few days and weeks and just lose that potential tool for the rest of that first year.
Right, absolutely. And it was trickier than I thought that it would be. Mm-hmm. But then just the closeness between baby and mother and just really, really exceptional. And the burning of the calories. Like I was blown away by that because it was kind of like just kind of unreal,
Well, that's the way it's designed to work, is that you do burn extra calories while you're making all that milk. So we don't recommend it as like a weight loss strategy, but like the way it's supposed to work is naturally, you're like transferring calories to the baby. So it can be good.
And it's hard with so many working moms that, in terms of those first couple of weeks in their maternity leave, they're able to do that. But going back to work, I know it's kind of a challenge. At the point in time when my kids were little, I worked for one of the 100 best companies to work for in America. And that was one of the things. They actually had a nursing room. And I was able to just let my boss know. They said, okay, whenever you need to go, just, put a sign up at your desk, like be right back, that kind of thing. And take care of what you need to. And it was private, and it was, they had a couch in there, and they had a TV in there, and it wasn't just a closet, it was really comfortable and nice and private. And when I talked to my other friends, nobody had that. And so I feel very, very blessed to have had that opportunity, because then I could nurse for as long as I wanted to.
Can we make sure all of the employers out there are listening?
There's a lot of businesses out
that
here
really didn't take that much effort on their part, and it impacted you and your children so profoundly.
Yes.
So you're right. If you have the support at work, you can make it work. If you don't have that support, if you logistically cannot fit pumping into your day, then it's going to be really hard. And a lot of women experience a supply dip because they aren't able to pump as often as they need to.
Right.
They get discouraged. So it's wonderful to hear that you had a good experience. And I do feel like more and more companies are getting on board with, if we want to retain our amazing employees who are also moms, who are also nursing their babies, maybe we should give them a safe space at work to pump when they're away from baby.
Because it really doesn't have a large cost attached to it.
No.
And there, I'll tell you, we had lots of projects. I was working late. I did not complain because I was able to still carry on with my lifestyle as I needed to and be a better worker for them.
If you want something done, ask a busy mom.
Yeah.
So, yes.
That's true. So, yeah. And even it was funny because I got interviewed, I think, by Channel 4 at one point or something, because, they like to do the publicity with it. And so when they were doing a piece on things, like, oh, this company does this. And so they interviewed me and one of the other moms of like, oh my gosh, this has been so exciting. And so then, family and friends got to see me on TV talking about it. And so that was
that's funny.
Kind
Very
of fun.
cool.
So anyway, so sorry about that.
No, that's good.
But great. So obviously, definitely breastfeeding such a big thing. And so Spilling the Milk podcast, that's really fun. So there's certainly a lot to talk about. What types of guests have you had? Like, what was your favorite episode even?
Ooh, that's tough to say. I guess what's really cool is you would think at this point, or I would think like, I know everything there is to know about breastfeeding. I got certified as a counselor and I've talked to all these moms and I've done it myself for a combined like 6 years. Every person I talk to teaches me something new because everyone's experience is a little bit different. For example, I was talking to someone and she told me some women have a specific enzyme in their milk where if it gets frozen and then thawed, it tastes really weird and you have to put vanilla extract in it to like counteract it. Like, what? Wow. If that didn't happen to you, you wouldn't even know that was a thing. But so for me, just finding out about all the nuances and being like a really comprehensive resource for other people. So since I've interviewed like a women's physical therapist and lactation consultant, and a childbirth educator. So when I feel like I'm a one-stop shop, if you're pregnant and you're thinking about breastfeeding and you have a question, I can either answer it for you or I can send you to the right resource. So that's what's so valuable about the podcast is I get all these other perspectives and then I can draw from that when I'm supporting an individual mom who has a unique experience or question.
Right. To have that as just a resource for everyone.
Yeah.
And even since we talked about culturally that, it wasn't so common. And so, we're normally in life as you have kids, you go to your mom and like, your mom helps you out with, what to do with this or that. But moms from that era that aren't as lucky as yours was. My mom was at a loss that just didn't even know how to advise or anything. And so I think the fact that you're such a resource is huge because for us as women starting off that path and not having somebody to be able to ask questions to know that this is such a good resource.
Yeah. And people like to tell their story. So sometimes, we heal through being able to just say out loud what our experience was. I talk to moms who, had their babies 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago. They still carry around pain and disappointment and frustration and shame and guilt, and they wish it could have gone differently around their breastfeeding experience. Wow. So clearly, moms are not getting the support in the moment that they need or ever having a chance to process that experience. And that applies to both like their whole birth and then breastfeeding. I just find it's a really big part of someone, and to give them space to process it seems to be really helpful. So that's something else that I like to do. Even if you're not actively breastfeeding, I will still listen to you process through your experience and maybe help you, move on from that.
Awesome. See, that's just so fantastic. Very needed resource for sure. So now in terms of your classes, because you said that they're online and you've developed these things. So you had mentioned the boot camp. Was there something else that I saw on your website, I think?
I do have a mini course on there.
There we go.
Yeah, just to get a feel for my style and some of the things you're going to learn. And the way the boot camp works is it's a monthly membership. So you subscribe for $29 a month, and then you have unlimited access to all the courses I have on there, including the boot camp. I do live group calls where you can ask me questions in real time, or you can just post a question on the discussion board and I'll answer right there. You can connect with other moms, and then I'm going to be bringing in other guests. So like a physical therapist to do a session or a massage therapist to teach us how to do infant massage. So when you're a member, you get all these benefits of the resources that I mentioned. I'll make sure that I keep bringing those in.
That's fantastic. And that's priceless, honestly, especially because, the baby's so young for such a limited amount of time, that seems definitely well worth it. Now, what do you like best about working with new mothers on their journey?
For me, it's all about the relationships. And I feel like I learn more about myself every time I connect with a new person. So like selfishly, I feel like I just keep growing and learning.
That growth mindset.
Yeah. But I really do feel like I'm living my purpose. Like I think all of us have experienced when we're just like in the flow. We're like, this is why I was put here. And sometimes I stop myself. I'm like, most people don't get this excited talking to someone about latching their baby. So like, I think I'm on the right
You're
path.
in the right.
This is what I'm supposed to be doing. So yeah, just that fulfillment of I'm meant to do this and I'm doing it and I know I'm helping other people.
I did want to talk about events and what might be on the horizon as well too, because you do some in-person things, right?
Absolutely. So for any moms in Livingston County, I hold a monthly mom meetup, and we usually meet at Brighton Lighthouse, and it's just a chance to connect. And so if you go to empoweredbumpsandboobs.com/events, I will always have the next month's event listed there. And then if I have other things coming up, that's a good place to find out what's going on. I have visions for this like new parent mini retreat or new parent camp. Dads are invited to. Maybe there'll be like some IPAs, just to, like, we'll have mocktails and IPAs for everyone's invited. And I have this vision of gathering like doulas, midwives, massage therapists, physical therapists, feeding specialists, and you can ask anything and you can meet other new parents in the area. So that's like, stay tuned. And now that I've said it out loud on a podcast, like it has to happen.
Yes, see?
But for anyone listening who is a professional in the women's health space, in the antenatal space, if you're interested in partnering on something like this, that's my favorite thing, is partnering with other professionals. I don't know everything, but together we know quite a lot. So I love partnership opportunities.
Awesome. Because it really, we do more together. Mm-hmm. Just the whole collaborative space. Collaborative space.
Yes. And I will shout out Brighton Lighthouse, because that's where I've been able to network with lots of professionals. That's where I met you two.
Yes, absolutely.
So that's a good place to find me and to attend the events.
Excellent. Yes, it's such a great group, and we love everybody there. Mm-hmm. It's really, we feel blessed to be part of that.
Same here.
So yeah. So then in terms of Emily Stone Consulting, that's, a little bit different. We can kind of bring down and
switching gears.
Yeah, it's all good. But can you tell us more about that?
Sure. So as I mentioned, I've been making online courses for other people for 20 years. And basically I have my own business. So I contract with organizations large and small, and I help them bring to life their vision. So for example, a nonprofit applied for a grant, they got the grant, and as part of the grant, they're supposed to create a series of courses to teach somebody something, and they're going to, test that out. Well, they're excited they got the grant, and then they're like, how are we going to make these courses? And then they hire me, and I say, I've got a plan, and I help them choose the platform, design the courses, record the videos, create assessment questions, whatever needs to be done, and launch it into the world. So anything that's like technology related, learning related, that's what I help businesses do.
That's great. I mean, what a good resource, because I'll bet you there's a lot of small businesses that are listeners. There are a lot of women that are listeners as well, too, by the way. But in terms of the small businesses, what they do well, but training and that whole element of things, that's an important part of things. And I think for small business owners, it's hard to wear another hat and do another thing.
And I do want to stress that we can do it really cheaply and really quickly. Like the technology has come a long way. If you just told me, Emily, I need a course, I need to train all my employees to be able to do this brand new process at work, I could have a learning for you at the end of the week. That's, wow. Please do not hire someone for thousands and thousands of dollars to create some complicated PowerPoint with buttons. Call me and I will get you something that they can scan with a QR code, open on their phone, click through, view a video, take a quiz, and now everybody in your office knows how to do the new thing. And if they forget, they can just pull the course back up on their phone and retake that one little video or whatever it is. So please do not spend more than you have to on training. I am here. I am in Brighton, and I will help you.
Twitch, right?
No, that is just amazing, because I know that there's so many businesses, you get that new piece of technology and one person in the office learns it.
Right.
And they spend the next however many weeks desperately trying to teach everybody else.
Yep.
And no one, and with you, they all learn the same thing.
Yeah.
Because then everyone learns something. It's like the telephone game, right?
Yes.
Everyone learns something different.
Yes. And let's say you hire somebody new next week, and then you forget to teach them the thing that everybody learned 2 weeks ago. So if we have one training that is standardized, yes, exactly as you're saying. And if something changes, we can make one little tweak and push it out to everybody at once, not retrain everybody all over. So yes, that's a great example of how this could be such a time saver.
And for it to be so efficient, right? And as business owners, I mean, efficiency is really what we're driving for.
Yeah.
So, and to make the dollars spent really suit what results you're getting.
Because they think they're saving money by teaching it themselves.
Right. Instead of hiring like an outside trainer or
Exactly.
paying a software company to bring in their trainer, which probably is expensive. I would agree
Right.
with that. Yeah. You just need me. I'll just.
There you go.
Nice.
But that's, I mean, honestly, that is what I love, is making the right information accessible to the right people. Like, that is efficiency. You just need to know what you need to know to do your job. That's what we all care about at the end of the day. So,
Yeah,
Right. Yep.
exactly. And to build a better team, right? Because I'm sure different messages can potentially create conflict, can create confusion, inefficiencies within the new process. So as efficient as you can be in launching it, really allows the new training to be executed properly.
that's true. Yeah, less room for error there.
Yeah. Great. Now, it looked like from your website that you had won an award last year.
I did. So I will shout out Michigan Women Forward. They grant grants to women-owned businesses in Michigan every year. And I entered that competition, and I ended up winning second place for the startup division.
Wow.
And it was very cool. So I had to do like a live pitch sort of to my computer screen, but it was being broadcast to lots of people, including the judges. And then they chose my business to fund, which felt so validating, because you have this idea and you're like, I think this is useful. I think people need it. And then like an actual organization says, yes, and we'll even give you money to help you do it. And you're like, okay, I think I'm onto something.
Wow.
And I do want to shout out my business coach, Kathy King, because she believed in me when I had like maybe a website, barely a website. And I told her about this competition. She's like, I think you should enter. I think you have a shot. I was like, really? And then I ended up winning second place. So that was really cool. And to other women entrepreneurs in Michigan, I think the deadline is usually in November or December. So, start thinking about it now. If you have a business idea and you want to apply, that application will open up in like November.
How cool. And half of these things I feel like is just even knowing about it.
Agreed. I bet there's that is on my to-do list, is what other funding opportunities are out there that I don't even know about yet that I need to apply for.
Right.
Because I would like to offer, fee-free breastfeeding education to those who can't afford it. I have to be able to make money to stay in business, but if I can get a grant, if I can get some funding, then maybe I can go out and do some more like pro bono work, which would be nice.
Because I've heard that there's always a lot of grants that go unused at the end of the year.
How
That
frustrating.
nobody applied for it, knew about it.
Yeah.
Yep. It's just going out there doing that search, spending a little bit of time, and finding that niche that you can get into.
Yes. Well, thank you for validating what I was thinking too. So I think next on my to-do list is to go out and apply for more money.
Which is a very good thing, in terms of small businesses and women-run businesses. I mean, female businesses are so huge, and I love that there's opportunities for those, and we have so many in our community, and just to be able to build each other up is really important.
Agreed. That's been actually a bonus of going into business, is getting to network with other business owners, and I do value those relationships.
And I found that Livingston County, Brighton, Howell, I mean, they're so supportive of small businesses that when you get into those spaces, like through the Brighton Lighthouse, that all of those people collaborate with each other because they really want everyone to succeed.
It really feels that way. Like, it is definitely a zero-sum game when you're at these networking events. Like, everyone wants everyone else to succeed.
Yeah, but we rise by lifting others, right? And even in terms of our podcast, that's why, as we bring all these small business owners, and sometimes there's storefronts and, a whole variety of things. So it's interesting for whether it's people new to the community or people that have been around forever, just to find out more of what's out there, but to build them up, because they aren't big corporations with advertising budgets, right? I bet you, and I'm hoping that there are listeners out there or people that know someone that is a new mom that could really use this information, and they pass that along to them, and they're able to get these resources that they didn't even know was there.
And we do know that Livingston County is an amazing place to raise a family. So we know lots of young families are moving here. And as much as we can connect them together.
Exactly.
So I think maybe you would agree, when your kids start school age or like sports,
Right.
then you're like with the other parents all the time, and it's a little bit easier to make parent friends. But when they're babies, you just like push them down the street and you're like looking like, is there a swing set? Like, are there other kids around? You're just like hoping. And so, yeah, if there's like organized places to meet other families, I think that's always helpful.
Makes it different.
Well, it's amazing when you are first a parent and you have the babies and that, the things you realize in the world that you didn't see before, right? You realize, when we first had kids, we would go places and I would go in to change the diaper, and men's rooms did not have diaper changing.
Yeah.
So I would actually sometimes go talk to a manager and be like, I'm going in the women's room right now. I have to change a diaper, Or
usually that would be when I wasn't
when you weren't there. But yes.
But even when I was there, if they did have it there, he was always awesome at being the diaper guy, and definitely appreciated and so fantastic. But it really was kind of sexist in that way that it was shocking how many places didn't have that.
Yeah, it's great that you were advocating, like, hey, have you considered that maybe dads need to change diapers?
That's right.
Yeah, like, what do you want me to do? Because it's like, guess what little fast food place would you rather me do this on the table here?
Right.
Or where can I do this?
I actually had an idea for an app that it would be the baby-friendly locations near you. So if we knew a restaurant had changing tables in both restrooms, if we knew a restaurant had a space for moms to go nurse if they wanted to, then, you could quickly find those businesses. And then it'd be a way for a business to differentiate itself. Like, we're super friendly to new parents. And so that's, if anybody out there wants to develop an app, that's
a great idea, because sometimes we come across them and we go, wow, that's so fantastic.
Yeah, sometimes they go above and beyond, right? To make you feel comfortable.
So they should get credit for it. I mean, even as simple as the outlet mall, like they have one there.
Yeah.
And that was always like, wow, that's so nice.
Yeah, that's true.
But you do realize as young parents that you don't know where to meet other parents until you're, in daycare, in school, those sorts of things.
But especially when you're at home and you're feeling isolated anyway, and you want someone else, I've had friends that, had babies before their friends. And so they were just so lost and cast adrift because nobody else was having the experience that they had.
Especially if you have a winter baby, because you're just like trapped in the house. And as soon as the first nice day, then you put them in the stroller and then you're walking down the street like looking for the other moms.
Yeah, exactly. I'm trying to think back to how we did it. It was definitely tough.
Yep.
I was fortunate. I was living in Chicago when I had my first baby in a neighborhood like near Wrigley Field where there was a ton of other young families and it's walkable. So you really could just walk down the street to the park and meet 5 to 10 other moms with babies. So I had it really good. And someone did create like a mom meetup group there that I was part of. And I don't know what my life would have been like without that, because I made mom friends and I could just ask the silly questions. Like, I have a 6-week-old, you have a 10-week-old. Like, tell me all the things that are going to happen in the next 4 weeks. And they told me. And so to the extent that we can recreate that here more in our suburban life where it's just, we're not that close together, we need to intentionally make spaces for, moms to get together.
Exactly.
Right. Well, in our experience, our neighbors didn't even know our first baby was in April. So they didn't even know that Angela was pregnant.
Right.
It was like they went from like, where did all of this come from in the spring?
What exacerbated the issue though is my mother-in-law, God bless her, had this wonderful idea to have this big stork show up on our front yard there, lawn, with the announcement that our son had arrived.
That's sweet.
And like 90% of our neighbors had no idea.
Well, that's one way to let everybody know at once.
They were very shocked. But it was fun. And actually, it was a nice conversation starter in terms of neighbors that we hadn't met yet.
That's true.
Yep.
Yeah, babies do bring people together.
Yes, absolutely. And even people, that are older that have kids different ages, there's just something special about a baby. And always wanting to help.
Yes.
Mothers or, new parents. And I like that in terms of your idea, having it for the dads too, because I feel like dads are more involved nowadays than they were way back when.
And I will say for the breastfeeding part, something I stress in my online classes is that the very best thing for your partner to do is to take care of you, because you're the only one that can make the milk and feed the baby. So the extent to which they can take care of the changing and the bathing and the washing of the bottles and bringing you food and drink and keeping maybe like in-laws away for right now because you are trying to nurse. as much as like that's a huge responsibility too. So just because you choose to breastfeed, it does not mean dad is off the hook at all.
Right.
I have heard this before, like, well, if I breastfeed, then I'm doing all the work. Like there's nothing for him to do. No, there's plenty for him to do. And that's good because then you can focus on the job that only you can do. So
Right.
it can be a beautiful, beautiful partnership if you're intentional about it.
Exactly. No, I think that's fantastic. I totally agree. And I like that there are resources in terms of pumping, because when that was available and it was possible for whether,
Yeah.
Don fed the baby, or even, in the case of my youngest, we have such cute pictures and memories of, the older kids feeding the baby
That
too.
is really special. Yes.
Oops.
And to the pumping, and you were talking about at work, what's nice nowadays is there are these wearable pumps. So some moms are able to even be like walking around at work and pumping at the same time. So like technology is helping us in this area. That is an option.
It's not the big
Yeah,
suitcase
I had
almost that you have.
You can still have a suitcase, but they also have, they do have more discreet.
I'm dating myself here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, the fun.
You
right?
made it work. I mean, isn't it amazing when you look back, like how many gallons of milk
Yes.
you fed your children?
It was
You
a
made
big
it work.
deal. And then,
Yes.
learning what foods I needed to eat, because sometimes it's like, wait a minute.
That's
Like,
a whole
I'm-
other thing.
Because
Yeah.
pumping made you aware of how much milk you had.
Mm-hmm.
And so in terms of, all right, this is what I need to be snacking
It's
on more.
also, I mean, also can be related to your stress levels too. Like
Yeah.
if you're experiencing a spike in cortisol, your body's like, we can't make milk right now. Like your hormones are going to be off. So if you're feeling stressed, it's going to be harder to make the same amount of milk as, and like as a new mom and returning to work. What are you? You're going to be stressed.
Yes,
So
exactly.
it's an uphill battle.
Oh, golly, but it takes a village, and it's nice to know that there's these resources out here
Mm-hmm.
that I'll bet you people don't even know that this is possible, and to connect with people that are right there in it with you, have online classes, have a whole community. I mean, and a person that's very knowledgeable with lots of resources to be able to ask. I mean, my gosh, this is everything that you could want and more.
That's awesome. And I do love when someone gifts this as a baby shower gift. So if you are attending a baby shower in the near future and you would love to gift my breastfeeding course to someone, I can put together a nice little bundle with like a cute onesie and then a gift certificate. So you can give them something physically, but you're really giving them like the intangible support and a place to go for answers and connect with other moms, which we have agreed is like really, really important. So if anybody wants to reach out to me and you're thinking, oh, this would be a cool gift, I have done that before. And I agree. It's a really loving gift that makes the mom feel really seen, because at the shower, it's like mostly about the baby. And yes, we love the baby and they're adorable. But what can we give mom to truly impact her experience? It's really like the support.
Yeah, that's such a phenomenal idea. Instead of all this is a little outfit that, guess what, baby's going to grow out of in about 8 weeks here.
This is true. This
And
is true.
that really, it's the gift that keeps giving.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And the gift of health for it.
Absolutely.
Great. Well, so now you are in Livingston County, and I do like having a chance to ask our guests, what do you like best about Livingston?
Well, I'm partial. So I live closest to downtown Brighton. And so I just told you today, walking down Main Street when the weather's nice, getting my coffee at Brighton Coffee House, Bourbons and Label are my two favorite restaurants to eat at. The wonderful job they've done downtown with like places to sit now and around the pond. I take the kids to the Imagination Station. I haven't been to the farmer's market yet this year, but I will be soon. So having lived in Chicago and having the city lifestyle, I feel like downtown Brighton is one of the closest things I can get to that same sort of just like walking around a downtown, seeing people out and about. So that's what I love about it. But also we have less traffic than when I go back towards Livonia where,
Right.
where I grew up. So it's like the good part about having a little downtown, but like less traffic than 8 and Haggerty. So yeah, I like the best of both worlds in that respect. And we can get anywhere, right? We can get to
Yes.
Lansing, we can get to Ann Arbor, we can get to Detroit, and I can get up north. Like,
Yep.
we have a really good freeway situation going on.
Exactly. No, makes a big difference. So great. Well, let's see, in terms of, is there anything else that we want to make sure that people take away from this interview that we haven't covered at all? Or?
I just would love to send out a reminder that I have those monthly mom meetups and to go to empoweredbumpsandboobs.com/events. And whatever month you're listening to this in, you will see what we have coming up for you. And I would love to welcome you. We generally have a different mix of people every month, which I love. I'm there when you need me. I don't expect you to make it every month, but I'm there when you can.
Sounds fantastic. Well, we appreciate you joining us today. Very educational. Everybody, know on the show notes, all of her information will be right there in terms of websites and so forth. But Emily is such a good resource, and feel free to forward this over to any of your friends or family that are young mothers or mothers to be. Right. If this does not specifically apply to you, just spread the word, because what great information to pass along that could be great for them. Thanks for joining us today. It's been a pleasure sitting down with you, and thanks, Don, for listening to us.
It was a good listening.
Very good listener.
Yes.
It's all good. Yeah.
Lovely to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much. And
welcome to
Livingston.